Hello, everybody. Welcome back to IntyCenter and another whip around FODEUSS. Just glancing real quick at the NBA scoreboard, and it seems like I made the right call in focusing on the non-depressing FODEUSS instead of NBA basketball tonight. Before we jump into the baseball, just a quick note. I want to talk about this book. I finished it today for Memorial Day. I said I wanted to finish it this weekend. The Gales of November, The Untold Story, the Edmund Fitzgerald. Folks, this was the best book that I've read in about 3 years. I saw it randomly at the library when I went to go pick up Charlie and the Chocolate Factory to read to the twins. Picked this one up on a whim, started reading it, never really put it down. Phenomenal, phenomenal book. If you like reading about history, pick this one up and you won't be sorry. And really just pick up a book anyways, because we're all better off when we're a much better, well-read society. That's going to be my soapbox for the week. And with that, we will get into it and start talking about the baseball, because that's what we're all here for, is the baseball. And so if you're here looking for some extra innings drama and close games, our first day this week might not be for you. But if you're looking for some good old-fashioned ass whoopings, we got those. We start in Albuquerque, where the Angels score two in the first, two in the second, one in the third, one in the fourth, three in the fifth. If you're bad at math, that's a 9-0 lead. Miguel Cabrera ends up with 4 hits and he drives in 4 runs. And the all-seeing Angels of Hernandez take down brand new ball players 10-2 on the day. Then in Birmingham, where thanks to a first inning RBI double from Mickey Mantle, the Bandwagoners briefly led this one. But the Shaq Barons answered with a pair in the bottom of the inning to take the lead. Then a 6-run third inning for the home team that featured absolutely zero extra base hits makes it 8-1. The Barons never looked back. Pete Browning had a 4-hit game. He was a triple away from the cycle. Barons take that one 14-3. We go to the second day of games, and we do get a bit more drama. And first, it's Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux going toe to toe, and we're tied at 2. That's a tongue twister. Toe to toe, tied at 2, entering the ninth inning. Kirby Puckett gets the leadoff single. He moves to second on a sac fly, moves to third on a ground out, and then scores on a walk-off from Roberto Clemente. Final lines in the game: Maddox with 8 2/3 innings, 3 runs scored, 2 of them earned on 6 hits with 12 strikeouts. The big unit, 2 runs on 5 hits, over 7 innings with 9 strikeouts. Sammy Sosa and Ernie Banks homer, but Jolly Roger gets the win 3-2. Then we go down to Atlanta, where the Animes trail the Mazings 3-1 as we're heading into the bottom of the eighth, but it could only be Rogers. Rogers Hornsby ties it up with a 2-run homer, only for Lefty O'Doul to untie it with a 2-run double in the ninth. Pedro Martinez works around a Joe Torre leadoff single, and Amazings take that one 5-3. Then, way up north, we got the Gales and the Throws. They each scored a run in the first, and then we stayed at 1-1 until George Davis gets an RBI single in the seventh that puts the Gales on top. But Henry Kimbrough, who I think is actually that meme MMA guy, he brought in the tying run on a sac fly in the eighth. Wade Boggs brings home Cap Anson in the ninth on a sac fly as well. And that's going to make Game of Throws your 3-2 winner. Let's talk about this third game between Albuquerque and the ball players. And it's a solo homer by Robin Yount in the seventh to put the brand new ball players up 2-1. A-Rod adds a solo homer in the bottom of the eighth, and that makes it 3-1. But Joe Mauer gets a 2-run single in the top of the ninth. We're tied up at 3. Albuquerque brings Ed Morris on for Bob Feller, but he does not provide relief. He gives up a 1-out single to the pinch hitting Lonnie Smith, and then a walk-off single to Dobie Moore. Brand new ball players take that one 4-3. The Gales of November come early. They score 4 in the second to take a 4-1 lead, but they wouldn't score again. A Cal McVeigh 2-run homer in the third tied it at 4, and we'd stay tied at 4 until the 10th inning. With 2 outs in the 10th, singles from Robbie Alomar and Cal McVeigh bring up Cap Anson, and with the power of racism fueling him, He gets the walk-off single. He scores Roberto Alomar, and that gives a 5-4 win to Game of Throws. Jolly Roger were up 3-2 heading into the ninth, but Ernie Banks hit a two-run homer to flip the lead. Jolly Roger then load the bases with nobody out in the bottom of the inning, but they can't get anybody home. Mariano Rivera strikes out the pinch hitting Duke Snyder to end the game, and Let's Play 2 escapes with a 4-3 win. Now, July 19th just gave us so many good games, but I'm going to tack on one more here. Jocko Milligan has a motherfucking laser to the gap in the second inning, and that's going to put the Enhancers up 1-0 early. A Denny Lyon RBI single in the fourth ties it at 1. Paul Hines and Bill Dickey double in the seventh to bring in another run for Sithy. And that's all the scoring we're going to have in this one. The Radbourne versus Bob Gibson duel delivers, and Sithy wins it 2-1. Now, we only had 2 games on the 20th, but the Demon Bags and New York State of Mound gave us a good one. Bottom of the sixth, and it's Wee Willie Keeler pinch hitting for Lou Boudreau and delivering an RBI single to tie the game at 4. In the top of the eighth, it's Cool Papa Bell on as the pinch runner and scoring on a throwing error by Cleveland's own Big Ed Delahunty. That puts the State of Mound up 5-4. Chuck Klein leads off the bottom of the eighth with a homer, and we're tied at 5. New York State of Mound gets 2 on and 1 out in the top of the ninth, but Zach Greinke works out of it. And after Dazzy Vance loads the bases with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth, Larry Walker gets the single, and that means it's a 6-5 win for the Demon Bags. Hey, I posted it in the other thread with the box score, but please do yourself a favor and check out that 8th inning of the Gales of November against brand new ball players. I'm going to cover other drama here. We got 3 doses of that drama on this day. First, with the Surfers, who lead New York State of Mound 2-1 in the 7th until Jim O'Rourke hits a 2-run homer to flip it to a 3-2 lead for the visitors. But that lead doesn't last long. Gary Sheffield with a 2-run single in the bottom of the 7th. New York State of Mound do get 2 on with 1 out in the 9th, but Jake Peavy strikes out O'Rourke and Billy Hamilton to end the game and get that 4-3 win for the Surfers. Then we go to the desert, where a Willard Brown 3-run homer spotted the Demon Bags a 3-0 lead in the 4th. The Free Fallers get 1 back in the 6th on an Elston Howard RBI single, then tie it up in the 8th on a 2-run single from Elston Howard. The Demon Bags use 2 pinch runners in the bottom of the 9th. The first one's retired a batter later on a GIDP. The other goes to third on a throwing error after he steals second. But Frankie Frisch strikes out with Tim Raines on third, and we're off to extra innings. There we get a Huey Jennings leadoff double, an intentional walk to Cleveland zone, and then a walk-off single from Wee Willie Keeler. D-Bags take that one 4-3. And then third and final one for that day, we go to Pittsburgh, where we have plenty of drama. Top of the 8th, an RBI single from Paul Wainer makes it 2-2, and we would need extra innings in this one. Top of the 12th, and a triple from Eddie Collins is followed by a double from Wainer. That puts the Enhancers on top 3-2. But down to their final out, down to their final strike, Eddie Murray hits a solo homer to tie it at 3 and send us to the 13th. In the 13th, RBI singles from Ernie Lombardi and Jimmy Collins make it 5-3 to the Enhancers. Jolly Roger gets 2 on with 2 outs and sends up the franchise player. It's Roberto Clemente. He offers at the first pitch he sees. He sends it high, deep, and it's caught on the run on the warning track by Aaron Judge, and that preserves a 5-3 victory for the Enhancers. On the 22nd, we got a pair of walk-off winners to tell you about. First, with Amazings at Birmingham, tied at 4, and it's a leadoff double by King Kelly. Fintybaum is shocked, but the Shack Barons have poor fundamentals as Roger Peckinpah pops out trying to lay down a sack bunt. But John McGraw gets a single, and the throw from Ty Cobb doesn't nail the runner to the plate, but it does nail an elderly lady sitting in the stands behind home plate, and that means it's a walk-off E8 for Birmingham. They win it 5-4. Then we've got Scythie down 5-4, entering the bottom of the ninth against Let's Play 2. But first, it's a one-out solo homer from Deacon White to tie it up. Then it's a two-out walk-off solo homer from Nap LaJoie. That wins it 6-5 for Scythie. Let's talk about getaway day. First, it's Mickey Mantle playing the hero for the Bandwagoners. They were down 3-2 to Atlanta before Mantle hits a three-run homer in the eighth. Now, Atlanta's going to load it up in the ninth inning, and they're going to bring up Rogers Hornsby. But Craig Kimbrell gets him to hit into a 4-6-3 game-ending double play, and the Bandwagoners are going to win that one 5-3. And we'll end this week out in beautiful, sunny San Diego with the Surfers holding a 5-4 lead entering the eighth. But Judd Wilson greets Felix Hernandez with a triple. After a strikeout and a walk, Tommy Holmes gets an RBI single, and we're tied at 5. We'll head to the 10th, still tied at 5. Willie Mays doesn't wait long, though. He leads off the 10th with a homer. John Smoltz works around a two-out single from Nomar Garciaparra in the bottom of the 10th, and the State of Mound get that 6-5 victory. That's going to do it for us this time on IntyCenter. Again, go out and find a book, read a book, an old one, a new one, a classic. I don't care. Just fucking read something over the next 7 days, and we'll catch you next time on IntyCenter for another whip around. FODEUSS.